And welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that lovely duct tape. Massive shout out to Vortex Lamb in the chat for making the duct tape and even involving Chase here in the duct tape as well. For not a Chase, I don't think he's seen it yet. He needs to watch it.
I'm scared. I'm scared of what you put in there, but I will watch it sometime.
Oh god. But yeah, mate, I hope everyone's ready. I hope you're ready as well for the PvP Grand Finals.
Do have a PvP indeed between two Polish players, ArT versus Gerald. If you have just tuned in, and Light, this is gonna be a, I don't know. This is.
What are you saying?
It's gonna be a good one.
Shaking my head. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of something that we need to get used to. You were talking about it earlier, you know, the Protoss Polish posse, you know, PvP.
Like that, yeah.
That's kind of what these players are a part of. And fun fact, here on this channel, we've actually been casting a little bit more Polish StarCraft recently. Yesterday morning and a couple of days before that, we've been casting the Polish LAN tournament, and we want to get a little bit more involved. You know, we want to try and kind of expand into the European scene a little bit more, and this is what we have for you.
Indeed, this is what we have, and not only that, they have shown their mettle over and over again, spawning in the bottom left. The Pinka Protoss from Poland, it is playing for Genesis Gaming, ArT.
Hey. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres ALE, we have the other Polish Protoss player. He is blue, representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald.
Right. We have two in-base gateways.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is gonna be our first proper PvP. We did have one earlier in the semifinals, but it was kind of intense and insane, and there was nothing but proxies, and we didn't get to play our favorite game of what comes out of the first two gateways.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, that is my favorite game indeed, because this is such an exciting matchup. This time we will have our two buildings, our two gateway openers, and kind of, do you think that if a player goes for one gateway, that obviously they're more limited in what they do because they go for faster nexus, but what do you think when you know your opponent's doing the same opener than you? How are you going to respond?
That's a really good question. I do think that that's where, like, if a player doesn't open up with a sentry as a part of their two units, like, that's kind of them showing their confidence and being like, I know what you're doing, or I can take a pretty good guess. I don't need to see early on, and I feel comfortable enough to either be aggressive with adepts or aggressive with stalkers. So we'll see if either one of our players is going to do that, and we see already ArT going for the both players. Oh my god.
Oh wow, we have 4 stalkers. Like, you know what that means?
What does that mean?
That means we have 2 more stalkers than if one player went 2 stalkers.
True, that means we got
Which
8
means
legs.
both players. Actually, stalkers have, they have four legs, right?
Yeah.
We have 16 legs.
Hey, we got 16 legs on the field. Fun fact, probes do not have legs.
No, they have little rocket boosts. Also, I've never noticed this. They have these big, ugly, friggin' eyes in the front of their head.
Well, whoa! What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't know. Look at it, man. It's ugly looking.
What? Hold on.
I guess they're still pretty cute. But oh no! What are you doing? Or is he gone? Oh, he's going to get his probe plushie, I bet. Those probes are cute.
How could you call this ugly, mate? How could you call this? Hold on,
That's like a cartoon version. Like,
what do you mean? We're watching a cartoon. This isn't real.
Oh my god, the eye's too small in real life. Okay, it's like anime. You know how they like accentuate the eyes and make them bigger? You have an anime probe.
Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head. Meanwhile, we do see ArT forced to recall as he only was able to catch 2 of these stalkers. The other 2 stalkers. 2 adepts are out on the map, but stalkers do make it back in time to defend.
They do indeed. These Adepts gonna get in Sniper Probe and they're just gonna go yeet, I'm out of here. And I don't know if that's worth it for an Adept, but Gerald, again, he's gonna get a really good scouting information with this other Adept.
True, true. You could argue maybe that's worth it, right? Especially because Gerald didn't have to waste a kind of an a hallucination early on to try and scout. He does confirm that there is a Twilight Council on the way, so we are going to be seeing a commitment into Blink Stalkers from ArT.
Yeah, that's right, and we kind of see Immortals, however, for Gerald, and this is where kind of, I guess, the first kind of change in the dynamic in the matchup, because we're going to have one player going for a bit more tech, which works better leading into the later stages of the game, where our other player is just going to depend a bit more on Stalkers. So expect to see ArT maybe be a bit more aggressive as we see that gateway go down. I promise I said I was going to say it before I saw the gateway, just to toot my own horn, but
Sure,
yeah, this is kind of shaping up. ArT is going to be the aggressor in this this circumstance.
Yeah, that he is, especially with that 3-gate aggression. But that's kind of the thing that we see quite often in this matchup, is that, the aggressor can have a hard time breaking in when we have defensive Immortals like this. And we see if the Protoss player is able to defend long enough with these Immortals, by the time they get 3 or 4 out, by the time they counterattack, the counterattack can just end the game.
Yeah, and I like how Gerald's kind of gearing up here, getting those early sentries. He's got 3 sentries out. He's also got the 2 Immortals. It's just going to come down if ArT can take advantage and jump on those Immortals. But this is kind of the scariest moment. We've seen a 3rd Immortal on the way, actually. With Observer popping, it's going to run into a sad side in a second.
Exactly, because Blink is done. He immediately does dive on these Stalkers, actually picks off 3 of them, has more than enough to one-shot all of these Stalkers. Doesn't go for the Immortals yet, though. And the Force Fields, they do cut up the army decently well.
Yeah, that's right. A few Stalkers going down. There's still a very hefty force, but with 2 Immortals, yeah, ArT, I'm probably expecting not to commit so heavily, actually, yeah, with that shield battery too. So, pretty good hold, all things considered, for Gerald. Only lost a couple of Stalkers there, and the units lost, it's very similar, but when you're losing, when one opponent's like going for Immortals like this, they're normally the better off player in this trade.
Yeah, it's not about the units that are lost, it's the units that are surviving, and the surviving units are pretty strong here. But he has to be a little bit careful. He cannot expose his Immortals like this, as there are now 3. Ooh, Sentry does get picked off there, but Gerald, he's feeling pretty safe and confident. He was just about to look to take a 3rd base. He's got his Forge now on the way for upgrades. He has deflected the aggression of ArT.
Yeah, for sure. With that 3rd Immortal, I expect to see ArT just, the aggression's just going to stop, because the DPS, you just can't, you might be able to kill the 3 Immortals, but you'll lose every single unit in your army. And so you see, Gerald, he's got a 3rd base on the way. ArT as well, because he's got this map control of the Stalkers, but he's going to need to invest in some sort of tech. And what we see here, we've got Charge Bots morphing in at the top of the map.
That we do. Charge is completed here by ArT, so he's taking advantage of his fast Twilight Council, and maybe with Charge, he can close the distance and actually get on top of these Immortals. The Immortals do not trade well at all against Zealots. We just need them here.
Yeah, they do not indeed, and we see this is kind of it's a bit Zest-esque, just kind of aping, just massing units, and there's a sentry here, but there's only 1, right? And this 3rd base is kind of an exposed location.
Yeah, that's why it's so important that ArT was able to snipe the sentries earlier. There we go. We have 2 Force Fields throwing down, but 2 is not going to be enough. The Zealots are closing distance. They're getting surrounds on the Immortals.
Yeah, indeed, and Gerald's being forced all the way back. 1 Immortal goes down, a 2nd Immortal focus down as well, and he's going to catch these Zealots. Cute little recall. I'm not sure how many will get saved. A couple, but this 3rd base is now in dire trouble.
Yeah, you could see the intensity, the kind of frantic nature of ArT. As soon as he pulled the trigger, he wanted those Immortals desperately, and he was able to get 2 of them, but only 2. 1 of them still stands. The sentries are out of energy. I think that maybe ArT has enough to take on this army. He instead goes for more secure damage. He goes for the 3rd base, and mate, he's gonna get it.
Just has overwhelming numbers here, and Gerald, he's forced to take this trade. The Immortals spending so much time working on these Zealots, and it's just, these Stalkers are reigning supreme here, and we see Gerald, he can't back off. He needs to save this 3rd base, that shield battery a bit out of the way, and I think he might maybe barely hold, but actually it looks like with the reinforcements, ArT is just gonna.
Yeah, the reinforcements are going to be enough here. The Nexus barely does survive, but for how much longer is the question, because Gerald, he just lost all of his immortals, he lost all of the workers that were here as well. He's down 12 plus probes, and again, a couple more volleys, and the Nexus will fall.
Yeah, it looks like he may actually be able to hold on here, but you just have to take a step back and look at the game state at the moment, lad, as we see the third base of ArT. Not only is it saturated, it's oversaturated.
Oh, yeah.
And we've just got our first probe going on Gerald's third.
Exactly, like ArT, he is so far ahead in that respect. He was able to reset the immortal count, so we're kind of even when it comes to the rover production as well. ArT played that out beautifully, and unfortunately Gerald just didn't really recognize that there was that that proxy gateway on the side of the map. He didn't know how aggressive his opponent was being. He thought he was safe and sound, and he was anything but.
Yeah, no, indeed. As we said, Darkshrine about to finish up. We've actually got some Archons on the way already, so I see this from there. Yeah, he's got both. He's got both Dark and Light. Sorry, Dark and High Templar. Not often you see. I guess you see such a dominant kind of position like this, where they can pick and choose at will.
Exactly. Usually it's one or the other, and ArT says both, mate, and that's exactly what he has. He's able to get Archons left and right, and he's going to be working on that next big push. Meanwhile, Gerald, I would say that probably the biggest advantage he has are his upgrades. He's already got +2 on the way, and he is chronoing out, so he's trying to, again, capitalize on that upgrade, on that advantage that he has as best as possible. But is it really going to be enough?
Yeah, and we have to keep in note too, this reinforcement point for ArT, it's still just right here as this is a very, very aggressive fourth base he's looking to take, and actually he's going to push in here with no sentries. It doesn't matter because there's Archons, and Gerald, he's got a concave, but this is a scary, scary force. Look at those High Templar, oh my days. Dope.
Oh my god, let's go. I mean, we do have a shield battery here in the back line for Geralt. We are going to have an overcharge as well. At the same time, ooh, a DT actually slips into the main base.
And it does indeed. That's going to be a nuisance when, you know, you kind of want to focus all your attention on this overwhelming force outside your third base. And
the supply block is real.
It actually is. Oh, and Geralt, you know, he doesn't even have a fourth base either. ArT can just sit here really, but taking out those rocks, I assume he wants to be aggressive, and I think this army is going to overwhelm Geralt.
It may just do that. I mean, we still have plenty of Archons on both sides. We'll see who comes out on top when it comes to the Zealots. The Zealots are just crashing into each other. Immortals doing whatever they can in the backline, but overcharge is being popped, and with that, Geralt may be able to force us back.
Yeah, actually that shield battery getting some work done on that Zealot, hindering some other Zealots of ArT, but yeah, the supply is still pretty similar, and that upgrade advantage not yet kicking in, but I think that, yeah, that was a decent trade for Geralt, things considered, but I still favour ArT's position in this game.
Exactly. I just love how he doesn't stop teching. Robotics Bay just finished up. There we go. The first Disruptor is on the way, and Disruptors can definitely be game changers here. Of course, it's going to take a while for him to really get a decent count of them out, but once they do come onto the scene, like they're going to make an impact.
Yeah, that they will indeed. The one thing, there's not so much of an issue now, but because we see that ArT is kind of really diversifying his army and adding in more units. It's actually more of a Geralt problem now. I'd say the gateway units, as we tend towards, you know, have our four bases, we lean towards that way. We'll have our, you know, you want more high tech units compared to gateway units, and we see actually DT Blink being researched by ArT. That at the moment, like, if you look at the army value, it's pretty similar, and if the game state kind of settles down right now, even though Geralt's down a few workers, he's not in the worst position, although a Disruptor is now out.
Yeah, you say one. There's a second one on the way as well. We have double Robo for double Disruptor production, which is going to be absolutely insane. Geralt is not too far behind, but he is behind. Like, he is working on the Robotics Bay and a second Robo to try and get into his own Disruptors as soon as possible.
Yeah, and again, this because this pathway has been opened up, you know, Geralt needs to take this threat a lot more serious, and if he had those rocks kind of, you know, narrowing the path down, he's got a decent concave, but Disruptors, you know, the fantastic units, and when your back is against the wall, you've got nowhere to run.
Yeah, exactly. The blinks have to be so perfect here to try and avoid those purification novas. Meanwhile, we already see one of the disruptors has already lost a bunch of its shields. Meanwhile, the first nova does go off, does take out a bunch of the shields of that immortal.
Yeah, indeed, and this is it. Like, he's got a lot of freedom. He's got extra gas income thanks to that fourth base, and he's got extra workers. And Gerald, I feel like he just can't really just, get back into this game. And it's just, there's a fantastic concave here, and Archon gonna get picked off. But this angle favors ArT so much.
Oh god, it really does. The novas are going off on those immortals. The stalkers do come in for a flank, and they do pick off an Archon for free, but they're also kind of isolating themselves a little bit. But in come the disruptors of Gerald.
Yeah, that's it. He's going to be able to push back now. The supply, however, dipping for Geralt. And these Stalkers getting pushed back by these Immortals. Like, I just don't think there's the firepower. With no more shield batteries left. And that Immortal going down. And the Stalkers, I don't know where they are now. I think ArT's going to be able to punch through this space location.
Yeah, exactly. The way that his army was moving throughout the course of that battle was absolutely insane. It was beautiful. It was elegant. He does end up losing his War Prism in the end, and he will lose a couple of disruptors in the retreat. Oh, no, never mind. Doesn't lose a single disruptor. Oh, my God. That's crazy.
And I guess Geralt, he's kind of realized, disruptors pretty good units. I'll make some myself, but at this stage in the game, it's a little bit... It's too little too late as he loses one, and ArT is going to take this game away.
Wow, GG gets called. ArT does take game number 1 in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Damn.
You suck, Light. I'm kidding. Yes, indeed, he does. As he game 1 down so far, and just keep in mind there's no lower bracket, loser bracket. I don't know how you say it. So this is both players coming in 0 games apiece. So it is 1-0 to ArT so far.
Oh yeah, that it is. And I was gonna talk about this earlier, but like we were kind of enthralled in a conversation about what were we talking about nonsense. That's all I remember. But it's a little bit about, like, a little bit of national pride is on the line as well. I was talking earlier about how I feel like Geralt is kind of the more well-rounded or even well-known player currently amongst the Protoss players in Poland, but ArT has been on the rise for the past year now. I remember him, he was originally on Alpha X, he went to Korea as well for studies, and was practicing in Korea as well, playing in the GSO qualifiers, and now he's here back home, and he's up against a countryman, and he's here to make a name for himself,
Yeah, that's right. It's a little bit of the I guess the old veteran versus the more kind of up and coming player, and both of them, as we saw from ArT, ArT is well capable to take out Geralt. But Geralt, he's been to IEMs. He's a very solid player that has many different facets of his gameplay that he can capitalize on, and so far it's going to be, if he can figure out ArT's playstyle, and he probably will given how good he is, can ArT adapt as well as Geralt? And this is because this series is a best of 5, we're likely to see at least 2 more games coming out of it.
Oh yeah,
so it's really going to test these 2 players on many facets.
Exactly. And when it comes to that, specifically talking about that game, like Geralt's, like, he was kind of on the back foot for a long time there. Again, like, it was so important that it was like a minute detail, but ArT, he was early on, he was actually sniping those sentries fairly well, to the point where when he finally showed his hand with his zealots, with his mass gateway army, there was only a single sentry left. There was only a single there was only enough energy for 2 force fields, and that wasn't enough for him to, like, pounce on the army and reset that immortal count. And that was like a really crucial moment, and ever since that moment, like, ArT, he never threw away his lead.
Yeah, indeed, that was a very decisive moment, I'd say, in the last game. Little small things like that, which we do pick up as we're casting, but we don't really see. ArT was probably planning when he pushed in there to take out those sentries the moment he realized he couldn't kind of jump on those immortals and do game-ending damage. So it's another trademark of a really good player, is they're always looking 2 steps ahead. And Geralt, even though he survived with immortals, which are great tech units heading into the mid game, they're not so good against charge lots, and we saw that. Like, not only did the charge lots, they're great against immortals, but they also buffer for those stalkers too, and that makes them doubly as ineffective. So very intelligent play from ArT. I want to commend him on that. But Geralt, I think he definitely will be capable enough to make a series out of this series.
Oh yeah, he definitely should. He definitely should. As here we go, you can hear the countdowns commencing in the chat as we are getting into game number 2. And I wouldn't be surprised if even this series went all the way to the ace match. I will be shocked if this is a 3-0. Like that shouldn't happen, right?
Yeah, anything can happen in this matchup. But I think both these players will, they've got something to give, and I expect that we will see multiple games. But as we get into it, playing for Storm Gaming, it is the blue Polish Protoss player. Down 1 game, can he bring it back? It is Gerald.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Polish Protoss player himself. He is pink, representing Genesis Gaming. It is ArT.
Ah, right. Guess what this is?
This is a game where ArT goes for... It is Blackburn, and he goes for that low ground wall.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Gerald, he goes for a high ground wall.
Oh. What does that mean, Chase? Tell us.
I'll tell you what it means. It means that Gerald is more likely to be aggressive, and ArT is more likely to be offensive, but that is not the whole story.
What's the story?
Okay, so a very long time ago,
Oh god.
there were 2 Polish players that were born.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember the story, but either way, the result of that story is we have a gateway on the low ground for ArT and a gateway on the high ground for Gerald.
Yeah, it's so important for Gerald to be as annoying as possible to delay this Nexus. Could even throw down a pylon. If the pylon finishes, he could even throw down a cybercore as well to just delay and make things, or make life that much more difficult for ArT. ArT, as a response, is forced to get out that Zealot.
He is in a deed light, as we see the block going down. We don't see a block from... Oops. Oh wow. You can see some sick angles going here, like. We don't see a block from ArT.
Oh my god.
His probe is just chilling around, and Gerald is relentless with blocking this base, and it's probably because he's confirmed he sees the Stargate, no second gateway, so it's going to take longer to deal with these pylons, and he's only losing 25 minerals per cancel. There we go again.
There we go. 4 cancels in total. Finally, it all gets cleaned up. And Gerald, he gets a lot of pretty good scouting information, confirming that Stargate, as you said, and going to be able to prepare himself at home with his stalkers and maybe even a shield battery.
Yeah, we see he's chrono boosting out that warp gate. Meanwhile, ArT, his Stargate does finish up. He's got a couple of units out in the field. Gerald looking for any proxies, I guess, because he didn't see that. He saw the units at home. He didn't see the Nexus actually go down, but I guess he's content enough, and he's going to send his Stalker home, and good thing is, because we have an Oracle on the way. Oh.
Yep, there we go. The first Oracle is on the way, as you were saying. Meanwhile, back at home, we already have a shield battery, so that's going to help out enough against that Oracle. He has to make sure he keeps an eye on his mineral line to make sure the stasis trap doesn't go off. We all know how annoying that can be sometimes.
Indeed we do, don't we? And here we...
Mate, I see nothing here.
I don't see anything either. I see a couple units in the main, but at the same breath, we have a shield battery for ArT. It's in Gerald in the main, so this is a decisive timing here for Gerald.
Yeah, the pylon is going to get picked up. Warp gate is going to be delayed. Aye. Gerald's already doing so much damage. At the same time, we do have a stasis trap in the main base of Gerald, but he splits, he avoids, and only 2 probes get stasised.
Does indeed. Decent work there. We see a lot of probes here pulled for ArT, and he's no longer fully saturated in the main like Gerald. And this is pretty light pressure, right? He's reinforcing with a couple of adepts now, which is a great choice, but this isn't, this is a very small commitment by Gerald.
Yeah, it's one of those things where this is light pressure and ArT is crumbling. Like, oh god. Like, he's losing worker after worker. He was forced to pull all the boys earlier. He's trying to pull wall up here to deny any kind of adept, but he just powers his way through. He just powers through it.
he doesn't. With these 2 oracles, you know, they might be able to clean up. Good to hold here with the adepts. Not being able to get in the main, but 1 oracle going down, and ArT's just gonna call it GG. And we have tied at 1-1.
GG, well played. It can be sometimes so risky when you go for that low ground wall, for that fast nexus, for that fast expansion. Gerald, he saw it, and he wanted to just fight back, put a point on the board, just sent out those stalkers, and wow, that was really nicely done. It was also just a real shame that ArT just happened to be out of position. Like, his stalkers were in the main, not at the natural at the time. Like,
Yeah, indeed, I'd say so. I think it was just it wasn't anything fancy from Gerald either, was it? He had this small advantage with the extra. Well, it's not really a small advantage, but when you have an extra gateway like that, you can afford to maybe take a slightly, push into a defensive position and trade slightly worse because you've got that. I guess the resources for it, and ArT, he did, 1 gateway expand into Oracle was very economical. It's not much of a surprise why we saw him kind of crumble in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. He just didn't really have a lot on the ground. Because he got scouted, like, Geralt knew that he didn't need any units at home to defend. He knew that, like, he was fine with just a shield battery and reaction time, and that's it. And yeah, as soon as that pylon went down, like, everything was on fire because, there's no warp gate, your production is depowered now, like, it just, everything was going wrong. What a game from Gerald.
What a game indeed, but we've tied it up now as we head into game number 3 of this series. Like, you were right, you were surprised to see a 3-0. We will not see a 3-0 as we go into game number 3 on Hardwire LE, spawning in that top right position. It is your boy. He managed to even it up in the last game. A Polish Protoss player for Storm Gaming. It is Gerald.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Polish Protoss player himself, representing Genesis Gaming, taking game 1, getting tied up in game 2, but still things looking pretty even. We'll see which one of our players can take a lead in this series. Is it going to be ArT?
Cheeky little snap there, Light, but yeah, we see. I don't know. I guess ArT, he's just going for the high ground wall. Maybe he's learning his lesson. Maybe it's just a map specific thing because Blackburn has that ramp at the front. But again, we're going to see 2 gateway openers from both players. My favorite game, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Stalker Sentry from both. I know it's not. I know you don't like the conservative guesses, Light, but I just think that in terms of the series, that's what we're going to see.
I want to think that Geralt is going to be a Chad and go double Stalker. Again. I want to believe.
He could. He definitely could, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I also imagine it's going to feel good, like, when you're playing a series and after, like, an intense, like, game number 1 in game 2, like, you're able to bounce back pretty quick. Without revealing too much. It's like, oh, okay, like, now the pressure's off. Now I've stabilized myself in this series, and now we can move on in it and see who takes the lead. Oh my God, he goes one step further, mate.
Yeah, oh my God, indeed. Like, we've got 2 adepts and a Stalker Sentry, and adepts, they're I want to say they're a conservative choice because they're quite cheap. 25 gas a piece, but that's actually not the story at all, is it? Like, you normally see these adepts when a player plans on being aggressive, right?
Yeah, and we'll see how hard he commits because, there are some players that just make 2 adepts and go across the map and they're just there to scout and harass and be annoying, but there are other players who make 2 adepts and then make another 2 adepts behind that, and then another 2 adepts behind that, and commit to like 6+ adepts just to not just be aggressive, but also bust their way into the main base and get into that mineral line.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of the reasons we see this kind of wall as we see Geralt takes out the little cleaning bot. The front. One of the reasons we see this kind of wall, it's not the tightest wall, but it's enough of a wall that you can put down a pylon to block off any sort of adept shade run by, because adepts can just shade like right through, and as we see here, this shield battery, it's just going to hold it in its tracks.
Oh yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, one of the pros was kind of left on the wrong side of that wall, so it is sniped. It is taken out. At the same time, with that Stalker Sentry opener, ArT is able to go for a hallucination scout and confirm that nothing crazy is going on, and that Gerald, just like game number 1, is going for a follow-up robot. Oh.
Yes, indeed. That Phoenix just kind of big chilling. It dissipates into, I don't know, the color or wherever they go after hallucination energy disappears. But this is quite a cheeky kind of forward position here by ArT. And as we see, we have a Robo Bay as well.
There's so much going on right now. So what I was gonna say is that this isn't too similar to, like, Gerald did go for a fast Robo in game 1, but he actually went for a Twilight Council before Robo here, and we don't see an upgrade. Is this Madman going to throw down? Okay, he's going into Immortals, but still nothing being researched here for that Twilight Council, which is throwing me off a little bit. And then ArT going into fast Disruptors, he's crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to see a Colossus drop, honestly. We're not going to see that, especially when we see this Twilight Council. Maybe it could just be to throw off ArT, you know, force out maybe Observer first so we can get that the extra immortal. But this position here, you know, these stalkers on the low ground, that need to help out because he's losing expensive sentries.
Yeah, and the immortal only just now is going to finish up. Unfortunately, it was a little bit mistimed. He was waiting for it. Both sentries go down. Probes are falling left and right. Again, only a single immortal trying to keep up, and this isn't even his final form. The first disruptor is on the way.
Yeah, that's right. He's still got these units chilling at the natural. He's going to clean up with the immortal once it pops, maybe anticipating a bit of multi-prong. And with this observer coming in to assess the situation a bit better, he could maybe jump on this lower position.
Yeah, a couple more probes getting picked off, 6 now in total. Gerald will be able to stabilize now with his immortals, but that first disruptor is done. Unfortunately, there's no War Prism speed, which is, oh god, a little bit scary. Like, ArT has to be careful not to lose that War Prism.
Yeah, he does indeed, and we see here, it looks like, you know, a little bit more map presence from Gerald. He's going to be getting around, needs to be careful, you know. We do have a Twilight just finished up for ArT, but he doesn't have Blink at all. But this Disruptor, you know, it's going to be scary. You see how it's just rallying units across, and Gerald, he's going to scout it right now.
Oh yeah, here we go. The hallucination does go in now. Gerald, finally, the jig is up. I know what you've been doing, but does it even matter that he knows? Is it too late? Because now we have 2 disruptors on the field here for ArT. The first Neva's going to go off. We don't have Blink. Oh, it was too soon.
Oh, we got a double immortal drop. This is cheeky.
Oh my god. It is. Oh, he can intercept the disruptor.
Oh, he can too. Is he watching go?
He's going for it. He wants it.
Yeah, unfortunately, not going to be able to get. Might get a stalker, maybe even a second here, and force the lift up and light. I think the kind of what we've seen so far is ArT's been the aggressor this series, and Gerald's just been weathering it so far.
Oh my god, he has been. Meanwhile, we do have some disruptor on, War Prism, massive, but the War Prism goes down from Gerald. A little bit of mismicro there, and Blink is still not done.
Oh no, and this is kind of turned on its head. Those 2 immortals was his kind of anchor in this hole, and they've just been, you know, disappeared. And now how does he deal with these disruptors? Like, another one's on the way and Blink's on the way, but just like that, he's lost his very expensive backbone.
Yeah, that he has. We have another immortal in production here for Gerald, but losing 2 immortals and a War Prism, that was a massive blunder for Gerald. Unfortunately, he was having a little bit too fun, like microing against his opponent, that he kind of left his own army idle and lost it all. ArT, though, he's not feeling too confident. He does recall back home. He doesn't want to overextend and lose his lead, which is respectable, to be honest. He wants to calm down, back off, and work on his army.
Yeah, I'd say for sure. Having the foresight, I guess, to anticipate. You've picked off 2 immortals, you've kept your disruptors alive. How can I kind of push this advantage? And even though, you know, you will be pushing advantage, I might lose a disruptor here, good pickup. And looks like he's going to try and secure a 3rd base, but you know, not only are you kind of pushing your advantage, you give your opponent breathing room, as we see a Robo Bay down for Gerald.
Oh yeah, Gerald, he wants to try and catch up in those disruptors. Makes plenty of sense. Both players are getting their 3rd bases up and running, but I do think that there is going to be a window where Gerald is going to be looking a little bit vulnerable, right? He's, again, going to be far behind in that disruptor count.
Yeah, he will indeed, and this is kind of the thing, right? Do you play catch up and try and take better trades with less units, you know, at a disadvantage, or do you just do something like different altogether? And it looks like we'll probably see disruptors coming out. We've got charge actually on the way, so charge lot disruptor. How do you think this army kind of synergizes? Like,
It can be a little bit risky, right? Because, you know, Novas are going into the army of your opponent, and so are Chargelots. But we may not get there because the third base of ArT is going to be denied. That's a kill, not a cancel. We see a recall back home, and he needs it because the army of ArT is across the map.
yeah, and he's got these probes as well, but this is such an awkward time for Gerald. He doesn't have, you know, charge is just under halfway done. He doesn't have a disrupt. I think the first one's just popped now, and he's got some immortals. He needs to pull them in there from the natural, and this is a bit of an interesting position here for Gerald.
Oh, yeah. It really is. The first name that goes up, and we do see a blink on top of it. The disruptor does not connect, and we still have two more behind this for ArT. Oh.
Yeah, a bit of a risky blink there, but he gets his timing right, and now with how this army is positioned, you know, he can just barrel one side or the other, and this third base, you know, Geralt's forced to engage, but it's so awkward to micro this army.
Yeah, the base is dead, mate. Gerald has to buy his time a little bit longer to get another disruptor out. He does have it on the way. It is now coming from that main base, and maybe he can go for that juicy shot and maybe kind of turn the tide in his favor.
Yeah, that's it too, and then there's a shield battery here and a disruptor on cooldown, but these two immortals, you know, they're pretty strong looking, but his stalkers are just isolated from the rest of his army, and as he pushes into this natural position, you know, the surface area you can dodge from gets less and less.
Oh god, it really does. Meanwhile, he's pulling the trigger. The War Prism of ArT does get picked off, and so do the disruptors. The Novas are going off as well. Gerald's finally taking a decent fight, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, actually, that's fantastic from Gerald. He's going to disrupt the coming to hurry up, and ArT, all he's got is stalkers left, and Gerald, that might have been the fight he needed, because, you know, ArT forces the blink, he's going to jump on top. Oh!
Little bit
of two of his own stalkers, however.
Little bit of friendly fire, and now the immortals are exposed. The disruptors are exposed as well. You make one slip up, you make one mistake, and ArT, he's there to capitalize on it.
Yeah, it looks like with this concave, he's going to just barely able with the blink micro hold on, but oh, that's not good. That's one less kind of disruptor you have. But if we take a look at our pink Protoss player ArT, he's got no disruptors and he's got nothing on the way. He's in fact going for a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, like the kind of the robo count for both players has kind of been reset. We do see that Gerald has been reproducing those disruptors and keeping his own alive, so I do think that he has that bit of an advantage. ArT's kind of going for a Hail Mary play. Actually, both players go for DTs.
Oh wow, DTs for DTs, and I think this could be anyone's game here, like, because when you go for Dark Templar, actually ArT being so smart, I was gonna say, you know, you don't often get an observer because you're the one, you know, going for DTs, but both players taking a passive stance here, and I'm not sure if you know, Gerald's gonna get an observer in time like ArT here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Gerald does have observer at the natural and on the map, so he will be able to recall them if need be. But despite that, there's always potential for DTs to deal damage. Oh boy, it's gonna be all about, you know, whether the observers are in position, whether Gerald recognizes that in time.
Yes, I fully missed that. Like, thank you for pointing it out with your ginormous brain, but one of these two adepts are going to get picked off, and the first DT morphing in. I'm not sure if Gerald actually spotted that, but I think, yeah, now we kind of have both players skirmishing out on the map, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure still how this will swing. I'm starting to like Gerald's position a bit more because he has all those disruptors. We only have one for ArT, but all it takes is one hit. Hey,
True, that's the thing. They are the great equalizer. Meanwhile, the first DT does slip into the natural base, and it looks like damage will be done. The observer is going to be responding, but again, a little bit too late, and forces a little less mining time at least.
At the very least, indeed, that DT gets picked off, and not only that, yeah, another DT heads, turns tails, and runs. Not only does he force a lot of lost mining time, but we're likely to see, you know, cannons go down, and that's more mineral investment. That I guess Gerald probably wouldn't prefer if, you know, in a game this kind of tight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit shocked that that ArT is doubling down. He's getting DT Blink as well, so he really wants these DTs to pay for themselves and to swing the tide of the battle in his favor. But I really appreciate how Gerald has responded. He's even getting observer speed to be able to keep up and make sure his detection is where it needs to be.
Yeah, indeed. It's kind of it's a little investment that can be overlooked, but just when you're ahead of things, it can really make the difference. But we see here, ArT now has 2 disruptors coming out at a time, so he's going to catch up pretty quickly with his with the double robo, and it's a bit of skirmish going with Gerald, just keeping tabs, sees the army at the same time. He's going to send these adepts in, but cannons are in position at the 3rd. So.
Oh yeah, we got cannons all over the place. There's a bit of a zealot run by being set up here at the 4th base as well. So this little bit of aggression isn't really going to do too much here from the side of Gerald. But as you said, it's going to be all about those disruptors here as ArT's army is moving out.
Yeah, indeed, and actually we see one of the Dark Templar of ArT is going to get picked off, just kind of poking at a pylon, so nothing major there. And we have DTs at the other base as well. There's DTs everywhere, actually.
Oh my god, there's DTs all over the place, both defensively and offensively. ArT will defend in the end, but now we have 4 disruptors against 4 disruptors.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because, as you said, ArT is doubling down on the DTs, and he's also pumping out 2 disruptors at a time. And I'm just wondering what Geralt's doing, how he's spending his gas, because it looks like he's holding a little bit more than ArT, but I don't really see any kind of advantage. It looks like he's even getting charge slots in this situation.
Yeah, he's really lacking that second robotics bay, right? Sorry, the robotics robo period to get more disruptors out. Meanwhile, here we go. Would you see he's trying to blink on forward? Oh my god! Oh, the disruptors! No, he's distracted by the DTs.
Oh, he is too. And go, and we see the DTs. Very smart play by ArT there to attack one side and blink on the cannon on the very other side. And he's going to clean this up. Very cost efficiently, really, but that's the advantage gone, right? He's now down. He's only down 1 disruptor, but if you look at the production tab, that's going to increase quite quickly as we head into this blink disruptor stage of the game.
Yeah, I really worry for Gerald. It feels like maybe he's panicking a little bit too much because that gas bank is getting pretty high. Like, unnecessarily high. Like, this should not be happening right now. Like, if he just had a little bit better production, meanwhile, another disruptor gets picked up.
Yeah, it does too, and these zealots also nowhere to run, and Gerald again, I feel like ArT is just outmaneuvering super well. We have a couple of DTs that actually kind of brush by each other, but the cannon and observer in place. ArT is playing a fantastic game this time around.
Yeah, oh my god, the blink as well does catch the DTs of Gerald. One player's DTs are clearly superior than the others, as they all are going to be cleaned up. But again, it still will come down to the fight. It's always hard to call, right? Even though ArT is outmaneuvering, even though he has better production and a higher army supply and better economy in some respects, as he does have the worker lead, it still will come down to those purification overs. Like, he can be playing beautifully, but if like 2 of them go off, like, that could be it.
Yeah, that's right. I do want to add that ArT, he does now have 8 disruptors, and when you have this many disruptors, you can kind of send one out like infinitely. It's very hard for your opponent to engage, as Terran players will know. But also looking, we actually have 2 observers coming out now for Gerald to make, I believe that is, he's only got 1 at the moment. Another small skirmish on the field here, but I think that as long as ArT keeps an eye on his army, he'll be okay.
But what about the other side of the map? The DTs go ahead, they take out the cannon, they take out all the workers, they pull the army out of position. Now in comes ArT. The Novas are going to be able to zone out his opponent. The Nexus barely survives with the overcharge, but for how much longer? The middle line!
Oh, the 17 probes going down, and Gerald just can't keep up with this multitask. Again, the DTs coming in the main. They're going to be... Actually, oh my god, this timing.
Feels bad, man. They take out the Warping In Stalkers at the same time. Would you have a DT run by here on the other side of the map? Finally, Geralt is going to be able to reciprocate and deal some economic damage. Well, we see a recall, and ArT, he holds after only losing 2 probes.
Yeah, it's not enough, is it? We kind of see now these DTs as observer with ArT's DTs. He needs to recall, but he's not going to get out of here. Oh, Blink actually finished up for Gerald. I had no idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, ArT also has Blink, so he's able to keep up. Like, how does he do it? How does he have just this insane DT control as he catches them all?
Like, we have 11 disruptors for ArT on the field.
Oh my god.
he's getting an immortal now. He's like, alright, that's too many.
This is just disgusting. I would think that at this point ArT should throw down some Stargates, right, and start getting into Sky Toss. But you know what? He's doing whatever the hell he wants to do. He's still committed to the ground toss. He checks. There is no rebuilt Nexus here. There's nothing, but there's some disruptors.
Oh, small connection there, yeah. I do agree with you. I think a Stargate transition would be fantastic for either player, but I can totally see how Gerald would feel like he's on the back foot. You know, he's getting the rough end of the stick, DT versus DT, disruptor versus disruptor, as another gets sniped. And ArT, I think he's just outplaying in so many aspects. And a little, small victory there for Gerald, but it's still 10 against 5 light.
Really is. Does try to blink on top of those DTs, but the DTs also blink away in the end. There are only 2 disruptors here with this army. Oh god, I don't know. I feel like if I saw that, he'd just dive on top of the disruptors, but meanwhile, almost wasn't paying attention, but forced to blink.
Oh my days, indeed. And this is kind of... it's just so many disruptors, isn't there? Off chance! Almost snipes the northern side.
ArT totally wasn't paying attention at that moment. Meanwhile, we have a blink on forward. He will take out these 2 disruptors with the main army. There's still more where that came from, and Gerald, here we go. He's sending them out.
He is indeed. He's not getting the connections, and it's so important when you're down to get decent connections. And the 4th base goes down. These DTs added to the army, actually. A couple there, but it's looking more and more dire for Gerald. But these DTs,
mate, where is the detection? ArT, he cannot see, and he's going to be forced all the way back. The DTs do push him back. War Prism goes down as well. Gerald will be able to survive, but again, he's still at a very heavy supply deficit.
Yeah, I don't know if ArT's kind of playing chicken. Oh no, he does have detection. Okay, I don't know if he had the observer or not, but I'm not so sure about Gerald. He kills a couple of his own DTs actually. But just looking at the supply light, I mean, he's still got 8 disruptors actually. Wow, but it's looking a bit tough.
It is. It really is. Like, the disruptor counts are pretty even, but the economy of Geralt is down the drain. So if he does trade a little bit too poorly, he cannot rebuild. Meanwhile, again, he is going to be able to zone out the army for the time being with all of these disruptors.
Yeah, some zoning, but actually, I'm not sure if that connected or not. But this is decent for Geralt, but ArT, he just needs to make sure he can afford to give up this base. And we see DTs, I believe, in the 3rd of Geralt forcing a recall. Wow. Jesus. And it's just... He's just relentless with this. I'm glad I didn't play Protoss. This is horrible to play.
I would hate to play this. This is not fun. Like, DTs and disruptors all over the place. Like, my heart, I would be dead, mate. Oh my god. Speaking of being dead, 2 disruptors get caught out. Yeah.
Do indeed. Extra balls coming, but ArT is watching his army. He's even getting shields. Ooh. Blink finishes just in time, and double Nexus all the way. Double Nexus, double Robo, even shields. Like, it is looking like ArT is going to posture to take this game.
Yeah, just slowly over time, he has been grinding Geralt down. It's still difficult to really engage with the army. Oh my! Oh, the Nova goes off! And almost every single disruptor goes down! Mate. Mate, this is what I'm talking about, mate.
Disruptors are insane units, I'm just gonna say it. But again, this is the moment. Geralt needs to jump on this, and it's hard to jump on against disruptors, however, but this is the opening I guess he was patiently waiting for.
Yeah. We have a kill, not a cancel on that 4th base. Does quickly blink out just in time. It's one of those things where, mate, you can have like a 50 supply lead, mate. That's 2 Novas. You just need them to connect, and you're good, mate.
You're not wrong there, lad. But just check out that production tab. Like, Geralt, he's got nothing. He's fully all in, but it's just like pushing the siege tanks, right? It's so slow, and how do you just capitalize when your opponent's up so many bases?
Exactly, mate. This is TVT in a nutshell. This is also why we are Zerg players and not Terran. Yeah, shaking my head. As we do see a little bit of DT harass here on the left-hand side, but the armies are still posturing with each other. The Novas go up!
Oh my god! That was a lot of disruptors just got taken out, and just like that, he's down to 1.
Yeah, that was basically every disruptor. Everyone has their moment. Gerald had some insane Nova shots earlier, but ArT has some as well. This is it. This is the last disruptor.
That is, and he's just gonna blink on a little slightly risky, I guess, but if he takes it out, he will realize now that Gerald. Oh, this is it. There goes the backbone, and when you have no disruptors versus disruptor slide. How's that normally go?
Yeah, you can't disruptor versus disruptor without disruptors.
Oh no, the one that rallies just decides GG call, and ArT will take game number 3 and take a 2-1 lead in the series.
Oh my god, what did we just watch?
Oh my days.
That was some peak PvP, mate. Ay, ay, ay. Wow.
Peak PvP. The series is starting to heat up.
Like, what more would you want out of a Protoss versus Protoss, right? We had DTs, we had DT Blink as well, we had disruptors, we had Novas going off left and right. It was crazy. I'm sure very intense for the players, but like I enjoyed that.
I did. It's something you'd enjoy, but I would not enjoy playing it because that seems stressful, and I'm an old man. I do not deal well with stress. But these two players make a living out of these stressful situations. But Gerald, will he be able to bounce back into this series as ArT takes the lead?
Yeah, that he does. He only needs one more to become our Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. Meanwhile, Gerald needs one more win to bring it all the way to the ace match. He is now up against the wall. It's not outside of the realm of possibility that he can, take this series in the end. But he just has to work that much more harder.
Harder indeedly do. And so far, we've only really seen... We haven't seen any crazy proxy shenanigans, have we? We've only seen proxy gateway once or twice today. So I'm wondering if now is the time, if ArT wants to bust it out. But ArT strikes me as a bit of a more macro-orientated player from what I've seen. So I think he's just going to back himself, especially after that last game. And I think we're going to have another macro game on our hands.
Yeah, yes, especially because of the map, right? It does kind of lean and lend towards that. So that's what we expect. But because that's what we expect, that is when the unexpected happens. That is when Gerald is gonna open up with a proxy Stargate, mate. Let's go.
It could happen. It's possible, yeah, for sure. As we're just taking a small break, as ArT says he will be right back. We do see our players requesting a little bit of a break, and I don't blame him, right? We were talking about how intense the series has been so far, so I imagine our players that want to they want to catch their breath, they want a moment to breathe, they want their heart rate to go down a little bit and normalize before they just die horribly. Yeah, that's right, PvP, bit of a cutthroat matchup. The Shield Battery did help out a bit in that regard, but it is a matchup that it's not for the faint of heart, is it? But we'll see. ArT looks like he has returned. Gerald will be starting the lobby very soon.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Just waiting for our players to ready on up, and then we can dive on in. And I haven't been disappointed by this series. It's been pretty intense. But what are we missing? Like, that's where I want to ask you. What haven't we seen, and what do you want to see in this PvP other than Colossus drops?
A cannon rush. I want to see a cannon rush. It's kind of. I'm sure these players know each other very well. I don't believe either of them is a cannon rusher, but I think as we get the game underway, we'll probably see 2-gate openers maybe. There's no ramp at the natural on Glittering Ash's LE, but I guess it will just deviate from that point. We'll have to find out.
Oh yeah, we will have to find out. As you heard the beeps, the countdown has commenced. We are diving into game number 3. Oh boy, could be the final game of this grand finals.
Could indeed. And as we mentioned, let's get into it. Spawning in the top right position, it is the blue Protoss from I was gonna say Portugal. from Poland.
From Portugal?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm tired. Playing for Storm Gaming, it is Gerald.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Glittering Ashes LE, we have his countryman, the other Portuguese Protoss player representing Genesis Gaming. It is ArT.
The Zest portrait.
Zidal.
Right, we see. Zidal? Wait, what? What?
No, idol?
Oh, his idol. So I thought you said his idol. I thought that was
his
that
idol.
Polish
Yeah,
or something.
his idol.
It is his idol. Ah, okay.
What?
I thought you said like.
What are you? What?
I thought you said something like this.
What is that? What the hell is that?
That's why I said, what is that? His idol. But yes, it is.
Oh my God.
ArT is his idol of. Zest is his idol. But...
Oh God.
Here we go. Cybernetics score. Nothing too crazy. What are you predicting, Light, of these two gateways over the game?
Sorry, I was just flexing my Portuguese earlier with that is broken up with that Duolingo. But I'm
it's not Portuguese, like, because I invented that word. Okay.
Sorry, Italian. There you go. But I'm a little bit surprised that neither one of our players went for a low ground wall. I understand that there is no ramp, so it can be a little bit riskier to go for something like that. But because of how large this is, we have seen Protoss players from time to time go for it anyway. But no, we do not see that at all from either one. And ArT also has... Okay, never mind. I thought he kept his probe here, but nah. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, no, sure. We kind of see Stargate going down now for Gerald, and we have this proxy pylon for ArT. I'm guessing ArT is going to throw down something once this pylon between these gases finishes up. But Stalkers on the way, and it's kind of a the Adept does allow for that Stargate because they're less gas. But you know, if you're not careful with these Adepts, you know your Stargate unit could be a bit exposed, I want to say.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like a 1-2 punch sort of thing, where ideally you want to distract your opponent, keeping their eyes on the screen of the Adepts, and then your Oracle can slip on in and deal some damage. Or they're focusing on the Oracle, and then the Adepts can slip in and deal damage, right? Like, both options can work out here, as that first Oracle is on the way.
Yeah, of course, and as we see, you know, Adept's going to get pushed back. He's not going to commit with them because he knows that they are quite valuable in this context. And Stalkers, he's actually dragging his Stalkers out of position a bit, and there's a couple extra Stalkers to help out, and there's even a probe floating on the map. This Oracle being chrono boosted yeah, he's going to bring those Stalkers home, so...
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to pull apart the attention of ArT, as ArT is returning back home with his entire army, 4 Stalkers against 2 Stalkers and 2 Adepts, and he is even sneaking into the main base to make sure he is able to protect that mineral line. No shield battery, bearing in mind, and all the Adepts actually commit to a shade. Uh-oh.
One of them will get taken out, one sneaks on by back home, sees the Nexus. Nothing too crazy, but you probably expect Gerald maybe to put a bit of pressure on that Nexus to force the Stalkers down, to give this Oracle a bit of leeway to get some damage, but ArT's covered it with 3 Stalkers despite the lack of shield battery.
Yeah, so in the end, Gerald, he backs off, he turns around, he goes all the way back home, and he has been unable to find any economic damage at all. Thankfully, you know, I mean, he still has a Nexus on the way. It is a little bit later, so he's going to be a little bit behind in that economy, but not by too much, as he is looking to transition and, actually invested into a 2nd Oracle.
Yeah, indeed, and normally you kind of see it. We've noticed a trend where there's...
no!
Yeah, never mind. He's only got 1 Oracle. I don't know what you're talking about.
Gerald with 2 Oracles, you can one-shot, but no! Okay, you can one-shot those workers, and he was looking to try and slip on in and deal that damage, but no, he was intercepted. Even here, the Adepts were denied. Oh my god.
Yeah, and we see that at the Oracle. It's got that angry, it's got that the attack move angry kind of movement that it's now with Blink halfway done for ArT. It's going to take a back seat. It's kind of the moment for it to kind of deal its most damage is gone, and it's now going to be a utility item. Like as we see, it's taking out this pylon. Normally, you wouldn't see energy used on a pylon like this, but these energy-based units, the more you keep them alive, the more energy you can utilize. But you have to be careful with these stalkers. Blink yet to finish up, so it should be able to get away slightly, maybe.
Oh god, slightly, barely gets away with 4 HP. One more Stalker shot would have been enough. Thankfully, Gerald, his Stargate investment hasn't gone down the drain, but it's pretty close. It's circling. It's like getting 1 pylon for two oracles is never something you want to see.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's not something, 300 gas. You don't really want to have to invest that much. We see a couple more gateways going down, ArT going with the Phoenix Scat as well, so expect maybe a bit more of this, especially taking out, the kind of nullifying those, the oracles so well. That's quite a big investment in a mirror matchup, so ArT again going to double down in a different way with his gateway units, but meanwhile Gerald is going to put some pressure on this third base.
Yeah, there we go. He does blink on forward. Very aggressive blink at that on top of said Nexus. The army of ArT isn't too far away, and with the shield battery, this Nexus should be fine, but Geralt is looking to reinforce. He does have that gateway, and more Stalkers are on the way.
Yeah, very cute move, using a couple of Adepts to kind of pull the army of ArT away so he can blink in and get to the top of this third base. Keeping in mind, however, the third base yet to finish for Geralt, so ArT, he's kind of moving like 3 probes at a time, as we see that worker count increase for him in the worker tab. No significant damage done with these Stalkers.
Yeah, not yet, but of course there is still potential here. Geralt, he's rotating around, he's trying to find a way, maybe even into the natural base, but ArT does have vision. He does confirm the location of the army, and he should be responding. There we go.
There we go, mobility, little blink there, sword for ArT, and I think if we look at the map, there's a lot of blue all over the place. There's 2 Adepts shading to the third base, and there's a couple of Stalkers in the high ground. They do blink down to help out and assist there, but the Oracle's back.
The Oracle's back, and there is no reaction. This time the stasis trap does go off in the main base. Beautifully done here by ArT, especially because with those Adepts, he was able to pull away the attention of the Stalkers that were defending the main and giving an opportunity for that Oracle.
Yeah, utilizing the units and understanding what, when you see Stalkers blink down from the main 3, which normally defends in the main, then heading with the Oracle. So we see a cute little move by Gerald, and he's being very aggressive with his unit positioning, hasn't he? He's got a lot more gateways coming down too, blinking away, and maybe seeing those Zealots. He'll know his charge lots will be coming soon from ArT.
Yeah, like it's very interesting how this is playing out, because this is a very different PvP than we've ever had so far in this series, where both players are kind of, oh my god, as another stasis trap goes off in the main. Geralt doing a great job getting back into this economically, but both players are really going for this mass gate style. Like there's no immortals or no disruptors. We now have immortal production commencing for Geralt, but again, for the most part, just blink Stalkers and chargelets.
Yeah, in fact, we only see 3 gases for Gerald, so one of the reasons he can afford to be so aggressive is because he's foregoing his tech, while ArT has actually seen this gateway on the map, and if we look at the minimap, there's a lot of colours coming together. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting, actually, but yeah, how is this going to intertwine these confrontations in the middle of the map?
Yeah, I don't know if I like this from Geralt, because of course it's not just Stalker versus Stalker, like those charge lots are coming into play as well. Meanwhile, ArT is coming together with everything that he has. He has to be a little bit careful. Oh my god, the Warp Prism is exposed!
Yeah, the Warp Prism gets sniped, and immediately ArT having to warp back at the third base, and it looks like he's going to stabilize, force these Stalkers back, especially with that Archon hitting at the front, but yeah, the main thing is Geralt do keep that gateway alive, and actually ArT is expanding towards it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it makes sense, right? Especially after losing a War Prism, we back up and we expand. Like any kind of aggression that ArT wanted to go for, it's gonna have to be put on hold, at least until he can rebuild that War Prism. That does come out now, but like again, that was a great pick off there by Geralt. It gives him a little bit more time, and now he is refining his army. He is adding that tech, that kind of finesse to it with that Robotic Spade.
Indeed, and we've been here before, like, we have got High Templar still coming for ArT, so Archon's a bit more of a more immediate choice that can help right now compared to the Disruptor tech, but we also have Dark Shrine coming down too. Gerald is going to be the one throwing the kitchen sink at his opponent here, and you know, I guess he can afford to do that now that he's got these 3 extra gases taken. He can afford to explore a little more his choices, but yeah, I feel like he's going to be a little bit on the back foot until this stuff kicks in, which allows his 4th base to be pretty much uncontested from ArT.
Yeah, pretty much. No, Gerald, his own 4th, is on the way, but far slower compared to his opponent. I do think that we may end up in a repeat scenario as our previous game, where we may have just disruptor on disruptor action. Like, that's where kind of the trajectory of this game is headed. We'll see if we get there. Or if something happens a little bit beforehand. Like, Geralt is still trying desperately to find some damage with these gateway units, but just can't find a way in.
Yeah, indeed. We see Geralt taking a little bit of a page out of ArT's book from the previous game, just kind of posturing on each side of the map. You know, maybe seeing if he sees a whole army on one side, he'll jump on the other side. But now just gonna back off. Now that he's got a couple disruptors out of the field, he's got 3 actually. As we see 3 robos from Geralt. Actually, he's going mad. I did not realize that. Like, there was 3 of them, but here we are.
Okay, I guess that's intentional, question mark. Triple robo is a little bit overkill, but let's go. I mean, it's a great way to really explode onto the scene with all these disruptors, especially because ArT only has 1 of his own.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me like when I used to be casted and I dropped 2 Roach Warrens. It didn't matter what game plan I was doing, I just go burrow Roach, so you know, I get Roach speed and burrow at the same time, so I don't look like stupid. I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but he's gonna be surprised. ArT rocks up with his 1 disruptor and he sees what, like 5 or 6 of them already.
Man, you say 5 or 6, mate. There's 8. He has 8 disruptors. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is quite a few in this attack angle. What can ArT, like, I don't know how he can push in there. He's got blink and charge, it's a bit mobile, but there's so many disruptors.
Oh god, there we go. Some of them are going to be connecting here, but I do worry a little bit because, you know, maybe he's being a little bit too aggressive with them, but it's okay. He does pull back. He is perfectly fine, as you were saying, and I wonder, at any point in this game, are we going to see that transition into Skytoss?
Yeah, I think now would be like if ArT, upon seeing that many disruptors, I think he should kind of, you know, keep his stalkers forward, just kind of put some pressure on and just tech up to Skytoss. I think it would be the best idea. The second best thing, just mass zealots. I don't know, Zealot Archon or something, but I don't like, you know, when you're kind of at this deficit, as we saw in the last game with Gerald, it's, you know, it is possible to take control of the game, but you need to get lucky, and that's more on your opponent. The ball's kind of in your opponent's court, they have to miss it. But we see both players going for DT Blink, and this could make or break it.
Yeah.
Who micros better.
Yeah, like the taking into the late game PvP is a question for me, just because like we saw how long the previous game went, and neither player threw down that Stargate or the second Stargate or Flea Beacon. So it's possible that both players may just prefer like Blink Stalker Disruptor and Blink DT, just blink everything. They could just prefer that style, so they just stick to it. We'll see as this game goes on. And ArT, he's looking to try and catch this army.
Yeah, if we look, he's being posturing quite aggressive here. I mean, you see, there's quite a few zealots for ArT too. Where are the disruptors? And that is an awkward blink saving the Archons, but Gerald's army's just everywhere at the moment, like.
Yeah, exactly. Gerald completely caught out of position here. Finally, the disruptors are going to be coming in, but after losing so many of those soldiers, but the Nova's go off! No!
Oh my god, the Novas do go off. That was insane there from Gerald. And then we see, if we just look at the disruptor count now, it's 2-7, and ArT has to back off. He's getting his air weapons. He's got a Stargate, actually, an extra Stargate on the way. This is the problem. If you want to transition to this kind of unit comp, I mean, yeah, you got to trade out some units, but you want to trade Zealots or Blinkstorms, right? You don't want to lose those Disruptors because they keep you safe during the transition.
Yeah, exactly. And now he only has 2 remaining. Can he even hold on? He's trying to switch into that Skytoss. He's listening to the stream. Exclamation mark Funada ArT with that 2-minute delay, of course. Yeah. 4. Oh my god, but can he even survive? The Nova's go off. There was no blink.
No blink indeed, and Gerald is taking control of this game. We have a large DT Zealot run by it on the other end, but there's also a bunch of DTs here.
Oh my!
Just waiting for Gerald. He's learning.
The defensive DTs are just too strong here. ArT just has to survive, but can he survive? He does have the high ground. He does have the defender's advantage. Gerald, he cannot pull the trigger yet. Oh god, but he has to. Otherwise, he will be left behind in the dust, you know, now that the Fleet Beacon and the Stargates are finishing up. Disruptors, they don't shoot up.
They do not indeed. The one, I guess the thing that ArT does have going for him, he's got a very healthy work account and that production now finishing up. But you know that if he can hold on until he gets his Stargate units out, he could maybe like transition into a solider like kind of army. But just in the immediate time until those carriers pop out, his army is just worse.
Yeah, it really is. Like, ArT, he is playing on a knife's edge right now. He just blinked, by the way, so a couple of his stalkers may get caught out. There we go. One of them gets picked off. Oh, at the same time, massive DT run by here. Is there detection? Cannons are on the way, but they're not ready.
No, they're not indeed. Looks like one of them may finish up. And the big blink, however, I don't think these cannons will last super long yet. Even with the delay to the blink DT attack, but those 4 carriers can get out. You know, it might even be worth just sacking a base if you can keep this one alive that Gerald's posturing for. But no, it's. I feel like this is it. This is like Gerald can end the game here, or ArT can win if it goes forward.
Yeah, and I don't know if I like this because ArT, he just revealed that his entire army is here towards the south. Gerald's like, oh, okay, I can just take the base. Let's just go. Let's just take out the Nexus. As he's gonna go up this ramp, and there's nothing to stop him.
You know, there's not at all, and the problem is he lost that southern base to the DTs too, so Shield Battery are going to try and sustain for a bit longer, and now the carriers are joining in actually, so I think defensively this army is quite decent with this many disruptors, but I think he will lose this base, or maybe not.
We'll see. No, the Novas are connecting with the Nexus, and it's only going to take a little bit more to really take it out, but no, we see a recall instead. The Nexus may survive.
Yeah, well, that does get taken out there, but we see with the carriers, you know, they're full of interceptors, and these blink stalkers will need to be careful, but you want to try and get, he's going to blink forward, does he get it? He does indeed, but I don't know if that trade was worth it, because we actually have Tempest coming out for Gerald.
Yeah, Gerald's mate, he's not sleeping at the wheel. He does have his own Stargates finishing up, and Tempest, I feel, are a little bit more superior to carriers, especially in this position. Nevers go off, and oh god, he can't afford to lose the carriers, not now.
He can't, he's worked so hard to get them out, as we see small stalker flank, it's gonna blink back, and Gerald, he has to keep his army together. There's so many things he has to look out for, but now we see that carry count up to 5, and with 24 stalkers, you know, they can pick it apart with disruptors defending them. ArT's trying to work his way back in.
Oh, that he is. Meanwhile, nice blink micro here. He does take out 3 of those disruptors, but now blink is on cooldown. At the same time, Gerald once again completely outpositions ArT and is going to be able to take out this Nexus.
He will indeed. A couple of these carries getting a bit forward, and disruptors slightly out of position, but I think that actually, if we look at the army supply, it looks like it's very even, but ArT is down so many workers. Oh, it's all happening like...
Yeah, exactly. Even more workers are falling left and right. This base is so crucial here for ArT. He knows that he has to keep this alive. Not just keep it alive, but also maybe counterattack. He cannot stay at home, because if he stays at home, ArT, he's just going to remax, rebuild, and oh god, another carrier!
Oh my god, these carriers are more important as the economy falls, and Gerald's microing really well here, and it looks like with the mothership coming out and 3 disruptors and Tempest, he's just throwing everything together. He just needs to hold on, and this is the timing. ArT, you know, he's built up to this army. He was struggling at first, but now is the time to end the game for our one of our Polish Protoss players.
Yeah, ArT is all in 100%. Like, this 5th base is going to go down once again. He has to try and end it, but the problem is that this entire time, Gerald has been slowly banking up that, oh god, that Tempest count. Oh, the Novas are going up.
Yeah, they are indeed. This is an awkward position for Gerald, because ArT's in between like many different rally points. He's in between all his bases, and we see even though he's down in the supply, and most of that's just in workers, you know, but can ArT hold on? The Tempests are out, and he's gonna have to calculate this attack. He's gonna have to, what's the word, like, commandeer his troops very well.
What are you saying? What are you even saying? Here we go. Gerald is going for the full surround. Again, the Stalkers are here to try and take down those carriers, staying with the Tempest, but we have a mass amount of disruptors still available here for ArT. He can just zone out the Stalkers for days, and now he dives on top of the Tempest.
Yes, he does. And as we see, the Stalkers isolated from the Tempest are so important units, and he does blink away, but he gets forced back. And ArT, I think he might be able to take this slide. He's still got a healthy carrier count and some disruptors. The mothership will pop soon, but to what avail?
Yeah, exactly. You may think, hey, the supplies are even. No, that's the overall supply, not the army supply, as ArT is going all the way into the main base. ArT barely has any workers, but that doesn't matter. It's all about that army.
And the mothership pops, it's gonna frantically run, it's gonna recoil away actually, and he's gonna barely save it. And actually we see a bit of a counter attack, but there's units waiting at home for, on its probes actually. No, I guess units are waiting at home, but is he trying to base trade here, lad?
I mean, he has to. That's the only way he can win, is if he destroys all of these buildings. Meanwhile, the production has all been depowered here in the main base. ArT has to make a choice. Is he going to save his last mining base? I feel like he has to be honest. He has to recall something.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of does. And Gerald, he's got units everywhere. He's forced, so he can't really just go home and risk letting, you know, risk letting Gerald get his army back up. He has to at least take out some more bases, and he needs to send some of these probes across the map somehow to build more buildings.
Yeah, the probes, they go into the main base. I like this. They're now protected by the shield battery, the overcharge, and the cannons. Not the best place, obviously, because there is zero mining, but does that really matter? ArT, he takes out another base, but he's got 3 more bases to deal with.
That he does indeed. And meanwhile, Geralt, like, what does he make here? He's got a mothership, which can be very important. As we see, there's only one observer on the field, and if that gets sniped, you know, that could spell some trouble for ArT. But just how does Geralt engage this? Those carriers are so potent.
Yeah, they're so potent. We still have plenty of disruptors as well, mate. You don't need detection to stop a purification over. Like, that doesn't even matter. They don't even care.
Like, as another base goes down, and this is kind of it. Like, he's knocking on the doorstep. There's a bunch of static defense here, but you know, maybe if he takes a decisive fight. But again, we have a healthy disruptor count to assist.
Yeah, exactly. The Novas go off. They take out all the static defense. The mothership is trying to survive, but it gets sniped out of the sky from the back line. The Stalkers are coming in, but we have Novas. Where are they? They go off.
Novas come in and just snipes them on carrier and then backs off. But now that the roles is reversed and ArT's kind of in the defensive position here, how does he push this choke point?
He can't, mate. He can't find a way in. G gets called.
Oh, well.
Oh my god. ArT, he was completely all in. He had to end the game with what he had, and he did it, mate. He's like, sure, let's go. Oh my god.
That was a crazy finish to the end of that game, and we were looking, like, even though the supply difference was so huge, it was just the army supply was similar, and he really, you know, we weren't sure he was going to get carriers out, and in the end, that air transition, you said, like, sealed the game for him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I said, mate, this guy needs to go to Skytoss, and when he was transitioning into Skytoss and when he lost all his disruptors, I was like, oh no, is this just gonna kill him? And it felt like it almost would have, right? Like, it felt like ArT was being caught out mid-transition, and he was just kind of like, things were looking so risky for him. Gerald was doing such a great job at just harassing, taking out bases left and right, just crippling the economy of ArT. But the entire time, he was working on that carrier count. He had like 6-7 carriers towards the end. And carriers, mate, they're pretty good, alongside a ground army to support them.
Yeah, that's right, indeed. And especially with ground army, when you have disruptors, which are the ultimate kind of
ultimate ground army, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Your opponent, like, they have to go stalkers pretty much. And stalkers can be okay versus carriers, but when they're constantly at risk of being blown apart by disruptors, it's not very practical. So yeah, fantastic, I guess, game sense. Yeah, I don't want to say fantastic game sense because it took some time to get into it, but fantastic decision making to eventually do that on the fly and take that game in the series.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if I can criticize Gerald too much, because I feel like he was making the right moves, like being as aggressive and as he was, pulling apart his opponent, and behind it taking up into Tempests. I think that was these were all good things. But we saw a decisive moment was when ArT pushed out and when he was in between the natural, the third, and the fourth, right? And Geralt's army was kind of all over the place, right? He had a couple of Tempests towards the south, he had the Disruptors towards the north, and like bit by bit, he was just pulled apart, and ArT was able to bring it all together, and just what a game. What a game.
game indeed. And with that, that will seal the Sparkling Tuna number 9. Grand champion will be yet again ArT, taking the 3-1 victory, I believe. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. GG. Well played. Congratulations, ArT. My condolences go out there to Gerald. Gerald has yet to win a Sparkling Tuna Cup. He's gotten close many, many times. He's kind of becoming the Kong of the tuna. The Tuna Kong, if you will.
Tuna Kong. Yeah, great.
Oh god, he just hasn't been able to get a win yet. But ArT showing that at least in the PvPs, he has some of the best, if not the best PvP in all of Poland. And that kind of makes sense just because of how many Polish Protoss players they are. You have to have good PvP if you want to be in this region. And wow, ArT proves that here and now. Damn.
Yeah, consistently, and then there's a lot of PvP that's been going on in the Sparkling Tuna. But he will take first place. We do have to give a bit of a shout out to our dear Lord Loken in chat for boosting the prize pool again.
What?
Like this guy is incredible.
Yeah.
So sorry, I mean again as in, like from week to week. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did boost it again. So thank you, and the players will appreciate that. But yeah, it's we wrap up. I guess that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lord Loken. Exclamation mark Matcherino in the chat if you want to have a look at the Matcherino page yourself. We do not have coupon codes, but if you want to contribute money to the prize pool, you can. We are pretty transparent with how the money is split up. It is all there. It goes to our top 2 placed players as well as to the random raffle winners. And if we do exceed a certain amount, then top 4 players get paid, not just top 2. So it is kind of set up in that way to spread the love if we do exceed a certain amount. But yes, thank you so much, Lord Loken. Always there to support the Ducklings.
He always is. Like, keep this man on a leash because he is very valuable. But and with that, I guess that wraps up at 1 a.m. Pretty decent cast. Some great series today. Got a bit of Zerg, what's a bit of Mixu. But yes.
Yeah, it was great to catch up again with Mixu. We haven't seen him for years on this channel, and now he's back, and now he's
My
good.
name's Light. Mixu's my mate, even though I had no idea he played the MSO. It's great to see him again, you know.
SDR, he played when he was Diamond, mate. Oh my god.
Yeah, yes, it actually is. A little fledgling duckling moving on, so sorry, but great to see him.
Yeah.
Continue before I rudely interrupted you with my bad Light impression.
No, it's okay. But yeah, it was great to see Mixu again, and great to see a Zerg player doing well. Obviously, he didn't make it to the finals, but even his series against Gerald was beautiful to see. It was a sight to behold. And of course, we have to give a shout out to our second place player here, Gerald. I know one of these weeks he will become a champion. He's definitely a caliber of player to do so, but just barely not getting there this time.
Yeah, indeed, it was a bit of a period of Polish dominance today. Both the Polish PvP posse, as you say, Light. So I'm sure Gerald, as he plays, if he keeps it up, I'm sure he'll get a victory soon enough. He's playing very consistent, and it's just a matter of time, really.
Oh yeah, 100%. So hopefully he is not too discouraged. But yeah, with that, I want to thank everyone in the chat for joining us today as well. I know that there are other events going on at the moment. You know, we actually clashed with the Caster Civil War, so I know a lot of people were tuning into that. They were doing like a 2v2 show match or an FFA show match or some kind of show match for the Caster Civil War. So I understand that we did have to kind of share viewership with that, but thank you so much for everyone who tuned in, and I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I know I did.
Yeah, the PvP, it was a bit crazy today. I'm not used to. Normally we have craziness in the form of proxies and void rays and all this stuff, but quite rare where you get to that stage of the game where both players are on even enough footing to just throw disruptor balls and blink stalkers at each other and blink DTs. So especially a 3 robo is not something I'd see very often either. So yeah, lots of good fun today, like.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much, Chase, for joining me today as well. I appreciate it. I know. Nowadays, you don't have as much energy as you used to. You're getting older. You got a job now.
I'm a boomer.
But I always appreciate having you on to help cast. And yeah, it was a good tournament.
It was fun. I can block US Central again. Oh,
God
yes.
damn it. Speaking of blocking US Central, Chase, if people want to get in touch with you and not get blocked, where can they find you?
Not on the US Central server, that's for sure, but I'm on Twitter, Jackson_Calvi. But yeah, tweet at me, say hi, or if you want.
Yeah.
But like, where can they find the star of the show?
The Starduck?
Yeah.
Not here in this
Not
tournament.
on Arrogant Survival 2.
Oh god. But yes, you can tune into me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream occasionally throughout the week. I didn't stream the past day because we've been busy casting, we've been busy covering some StarCraft, but you can follow me there if you want some 1v1 ladder sessions. You can watch me die horribly to Protoss and over and over and over again. But win 1 in every 5 games. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad.
It actually is 1 in 5, isn't it?
Oh boy.
That's
So yeah, if you want to tune into that, light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. Meanwhile, if you want to tune into more of these Cranky Duckling casts, and follow us on the Cranky Ducklings all over the interwebs, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube for our VODs, and we are on Discord if you want to interact with us outside of just these casts. We have our Patreon set up as well if you want to help support the tournament. Our Patreon is set up to help grow the tournament and eventually get like monthly finals and boost the prize pools. So if you're interested in that, then head on over to Patreon. But with that, Chase, do you have anything else you want to add before we head off? Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys in 6 hours, because in 6 hours I'm gonna be back with another broadcast. NA Apprentice is happening in 6 hours. I'll see you guys then. Bye.